do I need to laser point where the snacks are?
No, I thought we would do that afterwards.
Oh, okay. Well, they're eating them already.
Okay, well, they can go get them. That's fine. Some people were already in here.
Okay. Well,
It doesn't matter.
Come on in. We'll get started with. I didn't bring my phone or my book, so
Wow.
you have all the information.
Of course I do.
You don't have to be too quiet. Are we about ready? They're coming in, so. Come on in and we'll get started. So we'll have a chance to eat later too, whatever. So why don't we start with prayer, because we need it and you'll need it because you're going to need to stay awake through this. So, but we want to make it interesting. And so let's pray and get started here. Thank you, Lord, for just the opportunity that you afforded us to go to Israel and to the place where you walked on this earth and suffered and died, and just the amazing experience that it's been for us. I pray that we can portray some of this in a new light for everybody that's here. Certainly don't want to bore them, but we want to communicate those exciting things that were impressions on us and how you are one true God. You're with us and you forgive us. Those three amazing points that were again and again kind of grilled into our minds, or just riveted into our minds. You are one. You are with us, and you forgive us. And we just want to just get a new perspective tonight, and help us to do that. Give us the words to say, and a beautiful fellowship with one another. In Jesus' name, amen. We do not want to bore you, okay? And if you're bored, just walk out of here, okay? There's a good chance. We got probably, I don't know, way too many slides, but we'll move through them. And again, this is, drinking from Niagara Falls. So just to, we'll just go by the days, and there's stories to tell. We'll still tell the
I want to tell the first story.
You tell the first story.
We get to Garden City Airport, right? And we're sitting there, and the plane comes in, and we're not loading, and we're not loading, and we're not loading. And they come in and say a bird hit the plane, and we have to wait for a mechanic to come. So it very quickly became apparent we are going to miss our next flights. This is going to be a problem. So Steve went and talked to the lady, and she's like, there's nothing. You can't get there until Tuesday or Wednesday. Well, there so happened to be a man there who had been in Liberal giving a presentation, and he does tours to Israel for a living. So he came and talked to us and said, well, I suggest a different airline that could get you there. So he suggested Lufthansa.
Yeah.
So they were trying to tell us we should drive to Denver, and we're like, no, we're not going to do that.
Then 2 days, drive to Denver in 2 days, and then look for a flight.
Yeah, it just wasn't going to work. So we decided we'll go to Dallas and then try to work out things there. So we did proceed there, and to make a long story short, we did get the last 2 seats on Lufthansa. We were still trying to get reimbursed for a lot of this, but we figured we need to get there when it starts. We just need to be there for the start. So there was a lot of hurdles to jump through, but finally, we made it to Jaffa Gate. This is us going through. We made it on time.
We did have to hang them up a little bit an hour because our luggage didn't get there, which it went to North Carolina, to Denver, to wherever it did, and got a big hole in the side of it, but we did end up getting it, didn't lose anything, and then we were able to get the luggage by Wednesday.
Yes, but one other thing, the people on the bus had to wait about an hour for us to file all the paperwork and to get through COVID testing. So they waited for us, and on the way from the airport to Jerusalem, it takes like about an hour, I think. Anyways, he talked to us, and his first kind of talk was on that God called Abraham to this land, and he said Abraham would bless all nations. And this, I feel like God called you here for this particular time, and he'll meet you in a special way. And so that was just really encouraging word that first night, and I believe God did meet us there.
Yeah, because by this time I was just hoping just to get there, and it was kind of bizarre. But God and His design. We learned this from the get-go of our sabbatical. Hold your plans loosely. Man makes his plans, but God directs his steps. We made a lot of plans for sabbatical. We're supposed to. That's what we're supposed to do. And God doesn't tell us not to make plans. He tells us to make plans, but consider him in the picture and trust him to guide your steps. That's what he does. He guides your steps. And he did. He changed everything that we planned, but we accomplished everything that we planned. Mm-hmm. Can you go figure that one? But, he did it in his way, and it was what we needed, not what we thought we needed at the time. And there's stories inside of that story, but we got to Israel, and that was an encouragement. That's why I got her along to remember those things. But now that she says it, it was a God thing that we are here, and God has a special thing for us to experience, and we did. Mm-hmm. So here we are at Java Gate. Go ahead and start playing it. We're going to roll through these because we got a lot of slides to roll through, and we'll just talk. Go ahead, and this is our hotel, Gloria Hotel in the Old Jerusalem, just inside the
down that
Gate.
Street where all those people are standing.
Yeah. You can pause it once in a while so people can catch their breath. But this is going to the university as probably a 15-minute walk up and down and all around, and then we get to the university, and it's built in the old wall, and it's amazing that this Jerusalem University College is established in the 50s, I think, but it's built in the old city wall, and it's a beautiful campus and great location for us to start from. This is cemetery. We'll get back.
On the last day, we'll go back to that.
Spafford, the guy who wrote "It Is Well With My Soul," is buried there. We'll get to that point later. This is on the first day. We push pause. We're probably going a little too fast.
Back a second.
Back
Somehow
one.
we missed something. Maybe we reordered
First
it.
stop was.
No, okay, it messed up when we edited.
Okay. All right, we had a first stop just on the wall. It's an old wall. Some of the stones on the bottom. Pause. I'm sorry. Help us out here.
No, that's okay.
Go ahead and talk about the wall, or if you wanted to talk about that.
No, I didn't want to talk about that.
When we think of 100 years old, that's incredible, right? A 100-year-old house, man, you got a really old house. This stuff we're talking down here is probably how many thousand years old? 3,000 probably. I mean, these
something like that.
But the new wall is probably more like 1,500 years or something. I don't know when they built that wall, but it is incredible to think about the age of things there. It's kind of amazing. You'll get a chance to hold something that's 2,000 years old here in a minute if you want. And to me, that's intriguing that I can hold something that was made by somebody in 2,000 years ago.
So while our professor's telling us all this and talking about everything, I'm enjoying the almond tree. It was beautiful.
And the Bible refers to when the almond tree blossoms, it's a sign of spring. I think somewhere it says in there. And that definitely everything was in full bloom. We were just blessed by the timing of everything.
Okay.
So go ahead. And this is going in the Zion Gate. There's like 8 different gates to the city, old city, and just old stuff. Almond blossom,
Yeah,
that's where it's
almond
at.
blossoms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is looking over the Temple Mount. The first day we walked around Jerusalem, all over the place, but we put in our 15,000 steps, and that's the Dome of the Rock there, but below it is a lot of other stuff, other things keep moving. I don't know what, it's just incredible set there. This is overlooking the Mount of Olives, and then this is going up to the southern steps to the Temple Mount. These are newer steps here, and that's where I commented that they're not even. Like these steps are all symmetrical. Theirs is like 2 that are short, 2 that are long, and it's to make you hesitate and think about what you're doing when you're going into the presence of God, to not just rush into the presence of God. And that was a pretty incredible, just a principle that was just built into the steps. And yeah. You share.
No, he can keep going.
Yeah, keep going. So we'll try to keep the technology keeping up with us with the loading, but or we might not.
Well, I'll say one of the things he taught us on the southern steps as we got further down, and there's pictures, he talked about Jesus when he was in the temple, and that to him they were stories of his humanity. Like he had to learn like all the rest of us, and he was there learning from the rabbis, and he was asking them questions, and it was showing his humanity. I liked that part of it.
Yeah, and I think that Jesus was a child, and he probably ran up and down those stairs that we were setting on, the old ones, not the new ones that were played in there. But just to think that Jesus, I was there in a place where Jesus was walking up and down. That's kind of, to me, it's kind of cool. I don't know what you think about that, but it just was amazing to be where Jesus walked and experienced life, and didn't have to deal with technology. And so,
well, another thing when we get to this on this particular site was a lot of the ritual baths, which I guess I knew in my head partly, but to just to think about that, they took ritual baths there before they went up to the Temple Mount. It was kind of crazy. So,
yeah, it's trying to load. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we didn't get it done quite right, I suppose.
Open the door there if the internet might help. I don't know. If we open that back door for the internet purposes, might help. I don't know. Yeah, in the front of right down below us there are they're just, I don't know how many cleansing baths. There's a lot of people that came through there. A lot of people came through there, and I assume you had to have a women's quarters and the men's quarters, and you had to go down into these.
Yeah, all of this is like ritual bath areas.
And they've uncovered so many of those. Yeah. Oh, there it was.
That's all right. You can keep going. Or maybe not.
Tell some more stories. That's right.
Okay, so then on the first day, so he gives us a little bit of time to explore on our own. So Steve goes down and he's exploring in the ritual bath area, and I didn't want to go down. I was already tired. I didn't want to walk down all those steps to the bottom and have to walk all those steps back up, so I didn't.
It was fascinating to go down in these places and where the people would go down into these baths and get clean, I guess, so they could go into the temple, and they had to do a lot of stuff. They had to do a lot of rituals. That was intriguing for me.
Yeah, so I and my friends started going back to the group, and they started leaving already. And so Steve's still down in the ritual baths, and they went to another part.
Myself.
They went to another part And so I got up there and I told this one guy, we didn't know everyone real well yet. I'm like, my husband's not here yet. And he goes, are you sure? And I go, well, I didn't see him. He goes, well, go down there and make sure he's not there. So I go down there and the guy comes with me. And Steve, in the meantime, is trying to find us and he lost us.
And I'm running. I lost a lot of energy that day because I thought I lost the bus. But
And
yeah,
so
this is
then I
where
told
I'm
him,
at.
and he went
I'm
back and found him.
I'm taking pictures down here in these ritual baths while they're up there going around
Around
the
the
corner.
corner.
Not very far, but they're just going around the corner, and I did not see them. And I was lost, and I had a little bit of anxiety at that point, but I was enjoying myself. I was just enjoying just seeing all the amazing sights. Yeah, and this is
Around the corner.
the corner of the Temple Mount. Some of the original stones, they're just huge. If you look at that, it's like 4 foot by 4 foot by 20 feet. One stone. And it's just incredible, some of the stones that are used in there. And then that same day we ended up, you can pause on this one for a little bit, that this is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. This is where they believe that Jesus was. In this area of it, there was Golgotha, they think that's where he was crucified, and then cleared back down in this corner over inside the doors, but clear around in the back corner would be the actual tomb, which is very likely that those two were the two places. The garden tomb, which looks really good, and you see a lot of pictures about that, most likely is not where Jesus was buried. It doesn't fit the protocols for where it was, where it's located. But since this building here has been destroyed, rebuilt, well, there wasn't anything there when Jesus was crucified. This is outside the city walls, and he was crucified outside of the city walls. And then, of course, in like 400 AD, some people decided we needed a church building over that to protect those sites. So they built the church building. Well, I don't have my history right here, but Muslims came in and wiped it out and tried to build a goddess or something over it to get rid of this idea of Jesus' tomb there. Well, then Christians came back and and cleaned it off and rebuilt the church and back and forth. But the history of it is so clear that this is most likely where Jesus was crucified and buried and rose again. So it's kind of awesome. The building kind of destroys the atmosphere, but nonetheless, it's still there. And you can go. We'll show you the tomb when we get in there. Go ahead. Inside this, they actually have two places where the tomb is. This one, I do not think has even any bearing whatsoever. It's just a gaudy little chapel inside there that's got, they won't even let you take pictures inside it, which I already did before I went in. So they are kind of scolding me for getting my camera out. But I got scolded a couple times while I was in Israel.
Okay, keep going.
Anyway, so keep going. We don't need to look at that one. This actually is kind of downward on Golgotha, I think, in some of the actual
Rocks.
that were, that date back to that period. So incredible. Keep going.
Oh, keep going. We're going to need to keep that one in there.
Here's the tomb that they believe is very likely. You have to stoop to get in. It's probably about 5 foot at most. 4.5, 5 foot tall opening, and it goes inside, and then there's cavities where the bodies would be laid. And this is kind of a room that leads into, it's kind of panoramic, so you kind of got a weird view of it. Some people are distorted, whatever. But there is where the tomb is. And again, God in his design plan for our trip knew that when to schedule us. when there's not been tourists there for 2 years, and there wasn't a lot of people there, and it was such a blessing to be able to, in this room, at the temple, at the tomb, with our group, read scripture and sing. Just, it was kind of an amazing experience that you just, I don't know how to describe it, to be there and think about the resurrected Savior, and so yeah, keep going. Same thing. Keep going.
Should be the end of that day, I think.
End of that day?
Well, I think.
Okay, let's try to get out. And there's
day
Aubrielle. That's Aubrielle. Day 2, here
right.
we go. Say we're doing
Started the same route.
Same route, walking through
Walking
Jerusalem.
forever.
Walked a lot of miles, just to say the least. Keep going.
This time we went through the Dung Gate.
Yes, the Dung Gate. Got to have pictures of that. This is the exterior of the Dung Gate. So, all right, I took too many pictures. This is overlooking the city of David from the temple steps that we were standing on. Basically, we would be looking from the steps to the south, and this is basically where David's palace goes into the hillside there, and the Gihon Spring where Solomon was anointed as king, and also you kind of think about it. Jesus came down from the Mount of Olives, heading toward the Gihon Spring, which would have caused the people to think, dude, we're going to coronate, we're going to crown him king. He's going to be king, and Rome is going to run. They're going to tuck tail and run, and we're going to have our nation back. And that's the kind of mentality that, like I was sharing this morning, that they were hoping for that king that would restore Israel. And Jesus is riding on a donkey, fulfillment of scriptures. He's obviously sent from God, and he's doing all these miracles, and the people can see that this is the Messiah. They truly believed he was the Messiah. Now, not the religious leaders, but they knew he was the Messiah, and he's heading down the Mount of Olives, and he's going down to the Kidron Valley, and he's heading toward the Gihon Springs, and they're thinking, man, this is it. But I think if I were to interject my opinion, Jesus takes a right-hand turn and goes into the temple, and that's where he chases out the money changers, and of course it's the first of the Passover, and he's cleaning house, getting the leaven out. He's cleaning house in his father's house, and I thought that was a pretty interesting correlation of what took place there on Palm Sunday, the Sunday that we're celebrating today. So keep going. This is the Mount of Olives, and all of those are graves. The white limestone, those are all graves. That's all just full of graves. And people want to be buried here because this is the Valley of Jehoshaphat, where the coming judgment is going to come, and that's going to be the resurrection, and they want to be the first in line. So they want to be buried here. Problem is, it's getting kind of pricey to do that. It's like $1 million to be buried in this vicinity. So I don't think I'm going to be buried there anyway. So there's the Gihon Springs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Who is that?
I don't know.
Hey, you went too fast past that one.
No.
This is in, where is this in? You know the story on this one.
Well, they redid. They found these tiles somewhere, but they redid
temple.
it. Yeah, and it was from the Second Temple era. So Herod probably did it. I don't know. I loved the tile work and just the different patterns of things. Amazed me, really.
Yeah, this would have been either a model of what was in the Second Temple that Herod did. Herod, he overdid things. I don't know what his issue was, but he wanted to outdo everything. So, yeah, he did, and we'll see some of the things he actually did in his lifetime. Keep going.
Yeah, you can keep going out of that. Should have taken that one out. Keep
Yeah.
going.
This is David's palace, and it overlooks the valley out here. I think next picture might show a little bit more of that. This is, they've uncovered,
There.
so okay, right, this one right here overlooks the Kidron Valley and other houses. You know, I can see David out here when he should have been at war, tending to business, dilly-dallying around, and his eyes are wandering. And now, and we know the story where that all ended up. But by God's grace, it didn't end up in total disaster because Bathsheba became part of the
Stories all night.
I know, the lineage of Christ. But anyway, keep going. Yeah, this is David's.
And this was interesting because it had the stone
Not
toilet.
this is not a stone toilet. Back up a slide.
But it's hard to find.
We'll get to the stone toilets later. Right in there.
Yeah, in that area.
That is a toilet, just so you know. I mean, and that was in David's palace. So you have plumbing, indoor plumbing.
Yeah.
So.
Crazy.
Okay, now keep going. I'm getting ready to go through the Hezekiah's tunnel.
Uh-huh.
They had amazing aqueducts where they piped in water to the city so that when under siege, they still had water. I mean, water's crucial. That's the main thing you got to have. Well, we were able to walk through the Hezekiah's. She didn't. I did. Walk through the Hezekiah's tunnel, which is, I don't know how long it is, but it's quite a walk, and yeah, quite a story behind all that. But we won't get into that.
Right.
Keep going.
You don't have time.
Yeah, this is the Hezekiah's tunnel, and the well.
Then I went out this part. Like there's an aqueduct you could go out before the water.
Yeah. So we get
Because our suitcase hadn't arrived and I didn't have the proper attire.
The beauty of some of the trees there is incredible. This is a olive tree. Olive trees are really interesting in the fact that they live. It may look like it's a dead tree, but shoots come out of this dead trunk and produce another shoot, which is really kind of interesting. A lot of old olive trees in the area. No, she does.
I don't. He gave us a website to look up, and I haven't done it yet, to look up some of the flowers.
You get tired of seeing ruins, okay?
Yeah, just keep going.
But that's part of the area, and I don't even know what this was still in David's palace, I think.
Yeah.
And then
Steep street.
yeah. And this is the pool of Siloam at the end of Hezekiah's tunnel. Pool of Siloam, you remember the stories from that in the Bible when you hear those stories. This is where, down there at the bottom is where the pool used to be. And the actual steps are still in there where people would wait for isn't that where the bubbling of the pool took place?
I think so.
I don't know that it was actually ever reality, but that's what they were hoping for, the Spirit moving in the waters. So, yeah, keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, could have taken that one out. Steve coming out of the tunnel.
Coming out of the tunnel, yes. And getting ready to do 47 flights of stairs. So that was a day that we were exhausted. Here we're at the Wailing Wall. This is the men's side. Got the men's side, and we got the ladies' side on the other side. Is that correct?
I think I
Yeah,
have
there
a
we
picture
go.
of the ladies' side. That's
Yeah,
the
the men's side has a great.
There's the ladies' side.
Yeah, the men's side has a great library and thing on the side. The ladies are kind of scrunched into a smaller area. I don't know, but Lesa and I both went up to the respective walls, and just incredible to see the whole experience there. This is in the city. These are the market places, they just go on forever. You get lost in here. We got lost a couple times. We finally figured out the pattern of it, and we're able to navigate our way around. Via Dolorosa goes down these streets, and we'll see more of that Friday. Just a plug for the Friday's service, and that's probably the end of the day.
Yep, it is. We're only to day 3.
We're
We
day
gotta go
3.
faster.
Wow. That's from the Mount of Olives, looking out
back.
over the Temple Mount. It will clear up. The pixels just aren't not. There we go. Yeah, now you're focused in. We're up on top of the Mount of Olives. Again, the Mount of Olives is a long ridge, and this is looking down out over cemetery, all kinds of tombs down below us here. Did a session while we were up there talking about, I don't know what the story was on that one. Do you remember? But anyway, he did
Could look it
teaching
up.
moments. John Beck was our leader, and he's written books and things, and he's very knowledgeable about the area, and the geography is his specialty. And yeah, here's all the tombs, and it's just, this is the Jewish side, that's the Muslim side, all the way along the wall there, and it kind of blockades the eastern gates. You see the eastern gates there that normally I think went right into the temple courtyards. That's one idea where the temple was, but yeah, they're now blocked off, and they've got all kinds of tombs in front of that. So there's really no hope of getting those gates open once again. They're afraid that the Messiah is going to come through those gates. So anything to
Okay,
stop
keep
that.
going. Yeah.
Here's your
My
mosaic.
tile work. You'll see lots of tile work because it just, I don't know, they were so beautiful, and just to think that's so old. Yeah, it was just really beautiful.
The
Dominus Flavius or something like that.
Dominus Flavius. This is a teardrop-shaped cathedral of where Jesus wept over the city. I made mention of that this morning when he came down and he saw the city, and it's like he knew they were going to be judged because they did not accept him as the Messiah.
We were not able to go in there because there was a service going on or something, but
Yeah.
we did a lesson in the garden, this beautiful garden there area.
That was in the Mount of Olives in the garden, kind of in a garden area that Jesus would have been possibly praying in this area. This is the road down from the top of Mount of Olives. Pretty steep route that goes down, winds around to the bottom of the Kidron Valley, then goes back up into the city. There's no road into the gates here, but there's another gate over on this side where Friday we'll go that route into the Lion's Gate, which is on that side where it takes you through, clear up to the Golgotha and the crucifixion area.
This is at the Church of All Nations, so you can just keep going on that.
Yeah.
Just interesting.
So fascinating architecture and construction is just amazing. And
Beautiful.
again, every holy site has a church built over it. So whether it's the right site or not, we don't always know, but still the memory lingers on, and it's good to reflect and think about what all took place at those things. This is where Jesus would have been praying, sweat drops of blood, that story, and this is the Garden of Gethsemane, they think. And these are the huge old olive trees. Seems like it's dead, and then they shoot out this new shoot. Just amazing to think that, Jesus was probably praying among these trees. Who knows?
And that's what the front of it looked like. It was elaborate.
Yeah. Don't let it scroll too long. It's a video that,
Oh, yeah, you can keep going.
yeah. This he
Now
took
we're in the country
in the country
at Herodium.
at Herodian, where at this top of this mountain, did Herod build this mountain, or he built
He
the,
moved one mountain from one place to this place. Like he took part of the mountain next to it and moved it here to make it taller.
and the guy was nuts. You tell Herod not to do something, and he'll do it. That's the kind of guy that he was, and he needed to have something. He thought he needed to have this high palace here, and so he built, yeah. And I think the guy said, he was saying, isn't this kind of interesting when Jesus said, you can say to this mountain, move into the sea, and it'll move into the sea. He might have been looking up at this hill and see what Herod did. With the little desire and faith, you can do a lot of things. I don't know if that's what Jesus was referring to or not, but it was kind of interesting nonetheless. So we hiked up the top of this, and this is looking down from his palace that he had built at the top of this hill down
You
to a
could see
pool.
Bethlehem somewhere in there.
Bethlehem would be over here, I think.
I think.
But this is a huge pool that he had built down at the bottom because he had too many visitors, so he had to accommodate them down below here, and he built this huge pool, bigger than Garden City world famous pool. And this was the fortress that he built, and we're standing kind of on the top of it. Keep going. Looking out over, the wilderness, basically. There's one, I don't know which valley or wadi this is, but
He told us, but I
it's
don't
an
remember.
interesting one. Beautiful woman there. Here's some of the stuff that it was elaborate. It was, the colors were amazing, and some of this might be a reconstruction, but that's how he did things, elaborate, over the top. Herod was he just was a man that needed to feed his ego. Herod the Great, not so great.
And lots of stairs. They went way down there.
Oh man, stairs. Keep going.
And more
Keep going.
stairs.
And this is his amphitheater that he had built, but he didn't want it. I don't know that he didn't want anybody to enjoy it, but when he died, or when he's getting ready to die, I guess that was the orders. When he died, he had this back filled with dirt, so you couldn't even see it. So this whole fortress became his tomb, and he buried it in dirt. And of course now they're uncovering it, and this is some of the stuff they're finding underneath some of his. The guy was kind of crazy. Okay, that's all I can say. Yeah, keep going.
Well, now we're at the shepherd's field. This is the shepherds from the nativity story at Bethlehem.
Okay, at what? Yeah.
So
This is part of the shepherd's field. The caves that were there among them. There's stories. There's all kinds of stories where Christ was possibly born in one of these caves in the hills there. Obviously, we don't know for sure, but they think it is. So we'll let them. There's the Bethlehem star. It fell on the mosaics there.
there was mosaics of the whole birth story kind of along in these places too.
Yeah. The shepherds were at night. This was an interesting place, this cathedral that's built in this area of the shepherd's field where possibly Jesus was born. This cathedral was incredible acoustics, and we as a group were the only ones there, and a few of us were there and started singing. The acoustics were incredible, and it was that was another one of those, it just gives you chills, thinking of where you're at and singing some of these songs about what Christ has done. Incredible. Here's the Church of the Nativity. You have to crouch to get in because I don't know why they built the door
because of different things with the Crusades. They were bringing their horses in and destroying things, so they made it low, and then they kept it that way so that you have to bow to go in type thing.
Okay.
It's really strange inside, really kind of gaudy in some aspects, but then kind of rustic in other aspects. I don't know.
It's built in the shape of a cross. Really incredibly old. I was impressed. I was really impressed by the old woodwork. Yeah, you think of those probably 1,500 years old. I don't know how old that building was.
Well, and you had to, like, our instructor couldn't take us in there and talk about Jesus or something, so he had to hire a guide from there, a Palestinian guide that could come in to take us through it and keep going. Then when we went to go down here, he said usually, or it used to be, a 3 or 4 hour wait to go down to where they say Jesus was born. And we just went right down there.
Nobody there, hardly anybody there. I don't think this is where Jesus was born, but
Well, it's the next one with the star.
yeah,
There,
right
they
there.
say.
I did touch it, but nothing happened. So, but it's just incredible to think you're in the place, you're in the area. Jesus was born in this area. Yeah.
Just crazy artwork. And then you go outside in a little courtyard, and then you go into the Catholic part of it. So there's kind of two parts.
Those oranges are nasty. Oh, I couldn't. Oh, man. I ate one slice, and I gave people slices. They thought they were going to get a great, refreshing orange. It was not. It was so
We
sour.
didn't pick it. A guy gave it to us from there.
Yeah. See, I didn't get in trouble that was,
And that was our whole group.
in front of the Church of the Nativity. Yeah, here's Stars and Bucks Cafe. It's just down the street. It's just down the street from, go to the next one. Oh, it's not. Okay, the
No.
other one was another one like
Oh,
that.
I didn't.
Stars
put
and
both of
Bucks
them in.
and another cafe. Yeah, anyway. Zachariah Brothers in Bethlehem got an incredible souvenir shop there, and he was a Palestinian who claimed to be from the tribe of Judah, and it was kind of interesting. How can I question him? But he was saying we have a right to be here as well. It's our land too, and I'm he said we're a part of the. He had, I don't know, traced it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He understood that he was part of the tribe of Judah, and it gave us a little different perspective. Some of the ill treatment that he's had to go through, that he can't even go to some of his property and pick the fruit trees that he has because it's in Israel's territory, and they do not allow the Palestinians to go back and forth. And he's a high up individual, and he does have access to go once in a while to different things, but I don't know, there's some not so cool things going on in the land of Israel and Palestine and so on, but yeah. Okay.
So this is day 4. We're going to this place, which is where Samuel was buried, and I'm a little, I don't know, Mount something, Nebo or something.
Supposed to be, the cemetery or his tomb overlooking. I'm not sure which direction we're looking here at this point.
I don't know, but it was beautiful. It was nice to be out in the green in the country. It was pretty wet that morning. And we were able to go on top of the building here
And
in
just
a
look
minute.
for miles. We're all
Yeah, this is on top.
again, we didn't have clear days, so you could only see so far, but I think Mount Hermon probably would have been
No,
about
Not
there?
that one.
Not
no,
there. Okay, we'll
not there
get
yet.
to that one. We're just on the top. Just keep going inside that structure.
Stairs we climbed again.
Lots of stairs. And ruins.
Yeah.
More ruins.
Yeah.
Then we came to Shiloh, and I made an important discovery in Shiloh. My archaeological skills. I'll show
That'll
you that
come
when
in
we
a
get to it.
bit.
But Shiloh was a high place, right? And I don't know
The
some
tabernacle was set up there with
tabernacle
with
set up there.
Eli and
Yeah. You remember
his sons
Eli?
and Samuel.
Eli didn't
Hannah's
do a
prayer.
good job of raising his kids, his two boys, Phineas and Hophni and Phineas, isn't it? Two boys. They were a menace. They were a mess. And this is where Samuel gets his call. You know, here I am. You know, and he responds to God's call. And okay, this is a olive press.
Olive oil.
I tried pushing it around a corner and it didn't work, or didn't roll too good.
And this one's the wine press, which, okay.
Yeah. I just about took my shoes off and started stomping grapes, but it was too wet. In this picture right here, they use stones to rebuild the next church over the area, and you can see they built this church over a mosaic here, and they use stones in foundation stuff, and this is actually a horned altar piece. I don't know if that rings a bell to you, but it's pretty incredible to see a piece of one of the altars that was in this era, and they used it in the foundation stone. Kind of sad, but they found it and they kept it.
I just put some pictures in there. It kind of gives you perspective. We're going up and down and all around.
On Shiloh, this is the area where I think maybe some of the altar was. Not certain on that. And keep going. We don't know. We're trying to figure out why some of these was probably part of an olive press.
I think this was part of the housing, like the little room, the different houses. I don't know. It was important. And then we went in the building and they show a lot of the pottery and things that was found, which I found very fascinating. And that was a basket that they used, a lot of baskets, and that was one of them that they excavated. So yeah, you could just keep going. Just
Getting
more
close
of
to
the
my
pots.
right here. Hold on.
Oh.
I found this discovery. They didn't have it marked. If you know the story of Eli, his boys were a mess, and Samuel had to tell them that they were going to die as a result of their misbehavior. I mean, they were corrupt. They were really corrupt. And anyway, they were engaged in some activity. Maybe it wasn't even in a battle or whatever,
Yeah,
but they both were killed. And Samuel had to tell Eli that his two sons were killed and were no longer alive. Do you remember what happened to Eli when he heard the news? He fell over backwards in his chair. This is the chair. No. It wasn't Shiloh, but okay, it's probably not the chair, but oh shoot, keep going. Bedouin people still sheep herders, goat herders along the roads.
Really rough-looking
Rugged, yeah, very rugged.
houses and places.
Separating the sheep and the goats. This is Jericho. This is not the wall that Rahab's duva was hanging out, but anyway, it's in the city. I don't know, part of the wall might be exposed down there. Who knows? It's just so hard to tell. Jericho's been hammered, leveled, built over, leveled, built over, leveled so many different times. But they have dug down, keep going, dug down into different layers. This is a different city built on top of this red clay, which is, I think they said that would have been more in the era of when Joshua came across the Jordan River, which is in the background back there. It's kind of an oasis. Jericho's kind of an oasis in the wilderness.
Okay, keep
Keep
going.
going. And that's me. This they excavated down. They say it's 8,000 BC rubble down here. This structure. I don't know for sure what it was. A cistern maybe. But it's quite a ways down. It's like 50 feet down from where we were standing. But 8,000 BC, which they say is 10,000 years ago, which I'm not sure about the accuracy of the dates, but that's what they know better than I do probably.
You saw this one this morning, so we can keep going.
Yeah, oldest city in the world, lowest city in the world. This is on the wilderness. Lesa really liked this. I enjoyed looking out over this, but share your wilderness experience.
My wilderness experience?
You liked it.
Well, yeah, I mean, as we keep going, I mean, it looks pretty rugged right now, but then all of a sudden you come up these patches of flowers out there in all this wilderness. And then, so there was lots of flowers. And then we get to the end where he's going to teach us. And Steve sits on this rock, and I have a heart attack the whole time he's teaching us. I thought he was going to fall into the canyon.
It wasn't that scary.
Oh, it was too. Anyways, but he did the 23rd Psalm in the wilderness and talked about how David probably wrote the psalm, after being in the wilderness like this. And it just talked about some different things about that was really meaningful and good. So.
Yeah, see, that rock's solid. I'm not going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But the wilderness.
There's looking down from where he was sitting.
It is kind of a steep deal there. If somebody knocked a rock loose, and it rolled and 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 rolled clear down to that area right there. It's just but that's the rugged terrain from Jericho to Jerusalem.
And you can see the green now, which he said because of spring rains, it's green, but in a very short time, there would be no green anywhere, except maybe in those bottom parts.
Beautiful flowers just in the wilderness.
Yeah, growing out of nothing.
Snail, that's pretty neat. And yes, there's the donkey that you saw this morning. And he is riding it, but that must be a younger kid riding it there. His feet weren't dragging so much.
Yeah, just more of the flowers. Flowers again, I guess, had that in there twice.
Okay. Do we need to move faster than this?
Yes, we do.
Okay, we do. Day 5?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. All right.
So just keep going. We were on a mountain. He took us to the top, and we hiked down, and he talked about like the farming, how it was different, and the vines, the grapevines, and some different things about that. It was a beautiful hike, and there was a lot of really good teaching. Maybe people stayed in these caves when they came to tend their grapevines, and it was a beautiful walk and a beautiful day. A lot of hard down climbing for sure. I mean, steps. So.
I don't know what I was doing there.
One thing he talked about with the grapevines is a lot, back when Jesus walked the earth, they probably grew along the ground more. And when he talked about pruning or cutting off the vines, really it could also be translated lifting them up so that they would produce fruit. And I really kind of liked, Steve was by some grapevines over there somewhere. I really liked that illustration when we were there. So,
beautiful.
Yeah, that day was really hard on my knees in the end. We stepped down a lot of steps, like right there. And they're not even. So, but there was lots of beautiful flowers. This was another place that we stopped very shortly on our way.
Yeah. A high place that was set up an altar. Some who knows what. This is a quarry area where they quarried out limestone. Herod, I think it's part of Herod's building projects. They cut out the stones and they pull them up out the hole.
And it's called the Bell Caves. The acoustics were quite something in there. Sheep along the way. We saw lots of sheep. And wheat, even. This was a hike we did along a road, and we went down to a town that they think was one of David's that he built, but it overlooked the valley where David fought Goliath. And so we had a lesson when we got out there about
This would have been
in this valley. The Philistines were on one hill, and the Israelites were on another hill, and
it was in this area
yeah.
where David and Goliath clashed and had their one-sided battle. A lot of history in this whole arena looking around.
This is a more recent excavation thing, and it's not really, it's kind of off the beaten path a little bit. A lot of beautiful flowers. I like the flowers. That time we got to walk on a road for a long ways, which was a little nicer than the up and downs.
Wheat is at this stage. I think that's wheat. That might be barley. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Is
either.
that barley or wheat? But anyway, day 6. Okay, we're keep moving.
Well,
forward.
this one we only have 2 slides.
Okay, it's Sunday. We went to church at this. Was it
Christ Church.
Christ Church? And had a good time of worship in Old Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're moving. Masada, where the
That's okay. You can start there. Well,
this is where the Masada.
Herod had a palace there, and
He
then
had another-
eventually
Herod's-
there's other history that was there, but again, all the
Herod
mosaics.
outdid
and
himself.
The line is kind of like, go back a second. There was a line there, and above the line is like new construction, and
Hey.
below the line is
Is the original
actual.
stuff.
Yeah.
And he had baths. Had something to do with, he had some big deal about his baths. He had to have these hot baths, and so he had them everywhere, including on top of this wilderness area. And how they got water up there, I don't know. But
You
a
can
lot
keep
of
going now.
slaves. Keep
Just
going.
wanted to show. Yeah.
This is on top of a hill again.
You'll see it's just a desolate area, and it's way up. I don't know how they got there.
Yeah.
We took a tram. Very nice. Cable car or something.
Yeah.
This was where they had homing pigeons. They had all kinds of birds there to send messages or something. I don't know.
And this is it's on top of this hill that he built this fortress type area. And he had aqueducts that went along the side, and they would bring water up. I don't know how they did it, but they had thousands and thousands of gallons of water stored on top of this.
You can see the Dead Sea in the background way over there, too.
Yeah. There's no life in that terrain.
You can just keep going. It's just, this
There's
is part of
one
the baths.
That's how they'd heat the
Heat it,
baths.
yeah.
Fire or whatever, fire underneath there.
Just a rugged land there.
That was kind of what it looked like.
He had 3 kind of stages there or something. Steve went down to this part. I did not. There was too many stairs going down. No, thank you.
And again, he had all this amazing architecture, and yeah, he did it right. He did it up.
That was just the beginning of going down. I could have gone down, I just didn't think I could get back up.
I need to lose some weight. Okay, keep going.
So then when we came down there, we went to a
Engedi?
wadi. Well, it's in the Engedi Reserve, but we didn't go to the Engedi part because so many people there, I guess. But we went to this wadi that is an oasis.
Where
And he
David,
likes it, yeah.
where David would have hid from Saul. Yeah, and it was, yeah, and it's kind of an oasis right on the edge of the Dead Sea. Fresh water, of course, and a spring that goes through there, and there's caves in there, and it was a perfect place to hide away, to retreat and get into safety.
So yeah, it was it was a really neat place that we enjoyed. This is our lunch. Every day we got fresh pita bread, and the college sent sandwich stuff, and we had to chop our own peppers and peppers and cucumbers and lettuce and tomatoes.
Peanut
And then
butter
open
jelly.
cans, yeah. So that was my sandwich that day. Steve didn't like it, had olives on it.
Dead Sea.
Qumran, it's where they
the
jars
Dead
like
Sea
they found the
Scrolls.
Dead Sea Scrolls in.
Yeah.
Qumran was a whole community.
A
They had a lot
monastery.
of cleanliness rules and all kinds of rules. John the Baptist probably stayed there a little bit. It was kind of interesting, but yeah, again, just more of the ruins and a lot of the same things.
There's where the first set of Dead Sea Scrolls were found. The shepherd threw a rock down in there, heard something break, and found these scrolls. Oh, there it is.
And they found them in other caves along there. Quite a few caves, I forget, but
Yeah. And this is the Dead Sea. Look how we're sitting there on top of the water. It's like, it's so...
it's weird.
It is weird. You can't swim in this water. If you swim, you'll probably drown because you go on your belly, and your head goes down, and your hiney goes up and stays afloat, and you can't get out of it unless you roll over on your back. And he said people drown in the Dead Sea because they
Every year.
try to swim out, and you can't. And so, yeah.
Well, and I thought it'd be easy. I like to float on my back, but you can't. It's hard to I don't know. It's just weird. It was hard.
Yeah, this is Herod, where Herod built his
Seaport.
seaport.
Whatever.
And he was nuts. He overdid it. He was crazy. He had this. He was over the top. I guess because he could. This is his horse track, and just keep rolling on
And
this.
they said Paul would have been imprisoned here
Yeah.
before he went to Rome at this place.
Yeah.
It was just a massive
Another
place. Went
amphitheater.
on.
He just
Yeah.
had them everywhere. Thousands of people could come, and I don't know how he entertained them, but
More flowers. You can keep going.
more mosaics.
Yeah.
This is the horse track that starts down there and goes all the way around. So yeah, there we go. Mediterranean. We got a bunch of seashells that you can grab a seashell from the Mediterranean if you want, from Herod's palace or seaport.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I just like hearing the water, and being near the water like that was really
Keep
it was a
rolling.
good morning.
More mosaics.
Yeah.
He did not spare any change to do this.
This is where they had chariot races, so Steve's going to have his chariot race.
All right.
And that's another gate. We're going out. You know, they aren't just simple gates. You go out and you turn and you go another way, and
Elaborate.
yeah. So this is Mount Carmel, where Elijah
Had a contest with the
prophets of Baal.
prophets. Yeah. This overlooks. Oh man, there's so much. We don't have the pinpoints, but just site after site after site around this area where historical things took place, and just incredible be there in the middle of where these stories took place. I'll use these pictures when we cover the stories if I can.
Yeah, this is again the beautiful flowers. Then we go to Megiddo. That's this place. It was
Overlooks the valley of Armageddon, or Valley of Megiddo, where the final war will be staged, is some understanding.
this beautiful farm, very fertile valley, just lots of agriculture. This was a grain silo, and it has steps going down it, and it was just a huge silo that they filled with grain.
I don't know how many years of supply of grain they kept there.
So they want to help you visualize. This was the horse barn, stables.
Yeah.
So
So you're just walking with us through these full days.
yep. And this is Nazareth Ridge we're on, and he's pointing to Nazareth. So Jesus lived somewhere in there, although the city has exploded since when
Yeah.
he would have lived there.
The old town is in this area right here. Not very big, not very elaborate. Nothing good comes out of Nazareth. That's what the idea was.
So, but on the ridge, you can look in the valley and you can see all over. You wouldn't be able to see this from the town, but when you're up on the ridge, you can see
And
all
these are
around
all
again.
important sites back here. Can't name them right off. I have to go back to my notes.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of stories. We just can't say everything.
Keep
So.
going.
There. Then we went down in this area and did a little talking. It was really pretty. There was lots of flowers, and that one didn't show very good.
Well, we're
So
gonna
that was the end of that day, yes.
keep rolling here. Day, we're
9.
man, can we do it? Can we do it?
I don't know. We can go
Let's
faster.
go quickly here. This is on the road to Galilee? Or
No,
not
we
yet?
were
Not
we
yet.
were already
Okay,
in
here we go.
Galilee.
This
this
is
is our
Mount
first day there.
Hermon here. Snow covered year round, I think.
And
yeah.
it was so rainy, we only got that glimpse in the morning. And in the afternoon, we went somewhere. We should have been able to see it, but it was too cloudy.
Yeah.
So we got that glimpse in the morning. I found this fascinating because there was just these different gates and walls, and I liked this place. It was cold. That had to do with fire that cracked all those. The fire was so hot, it actually broke all the stones. It was kind of interesting. They burned the city.
Joshua burned the city, then somebody else after him burnt the city again. This is one of the cisterns or the wells that they had there.
That they
Goes
dug.
down to water
Yeah.
table.
Really deep kind of thing. Just really big sites. You had a lot of walking to do to go around them. A lot of times he took us to a certain place and did teaching, and then we explored it on our own a little bit. So here's a different type of olive press that had something moving around it more.
This is the start of the Jordan River. During Bible times, it would have been 3 times this size, 3 times as wide, 3 times as deep. So people don't just cross that very easily. And this is a high place that, God wasn't pleased with. I don't believe. I think that was the whole issue of that one. But
That was some of the older excavation they're doing that they're finding, and it was, part of Solomon's. And we're pretty rainy at this point.
king's seat at the gate. And
This is the no.
no, this is the spring yet.
This is a high place.
Yeah, where it had lots of different religions set up shop here.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful places, and we're just going to continue to scroll here.
No, I think that's.
Is that the end of it?
No, maybe not. No, because we went to the tall mountain. We went to the lookout. From here, we could see Lebanon, Israel, Jordan. I don't know. Syria.
I think, yeah.
But, it was kind of cloudy, so we were supposed to be able to see all that.
Yeah, we won't get to get that all.
And you're supposed to be able to see Mount Hermon from there, but it was too cloudy. We couldn't see it. On our way back to our
This is the Sea of Galilee, right?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Okay, keep rolling. We'll get to
you can just,
This is the place we stayed, so.
Yeah.
Looking over the Sea of Galilee. Beautiful, beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in awe.
It was a beautiful evening.
It does get focused, but.
That's okay.
Okay.
There we go.
There it is. Okay, the next day, speed up here. Day 10, we get to go on the Sea of Galilee on a boat ride, even though it was getting ready to rain. We were able to get out there and enjoy the Sea of Galilee.
It was quite windy.
It was kind of interesting. One of the nights, the first
group
night that we were
again.
there, in the middle of the night, a storm came up, and it was just blowing and whipping the palm trees that were in front of our deal, and we could look at. You couldn't really see much, but it was just kicking up the waves. It was blowing like crazy, and a storm just kicked up in the middle of the night. And I got thinking, wow, now I understand a little bit what the disciples had to deal with when that storm came up in the middle of the night. This is Peter's house, right? And the synagogue by Peter's house that Jesus would have taught in.
The black. He would have taught in the black synagogue, and then there was a white one built on top of it later.
So I stepped on the stones that Jesus stepped on. You can see the different types of stone signifying different eras.
Mm-hmm. Just incredibly massive pillars and just massive things.
I don't know how they did it.
I
don't know how
either.
they moved all those, carved all those stones. Yeah.
These were kind of some of the houses. They were like, the rooms all went together, and I don't know. It was kind of crazy.
Again,
And
Peter's
that's supposed to be Peter's house underneath there,
Jesus
with the
would
church built over it.
Yeah.
And this was along the seashore right there by that house and that same complex, and just a big tree that people taught under. Keeps the rain off, kind of. So, just more of the ruins.
Incredible. Just some of the incredible stones that were carved.
Now we're on Mount Arbel. Arbel.
This is where he believes that on the side of this mountain is where the Sermon on the Mount took place. And he says it's most likely, when he says go to the mount, he doesn't describe it, he doesn't name it, he just assumes that he knows they know what you're talking about. go to that mount. This is the only one that stands out like this. That would be a common place that everybody knew to go to. And so therefore, that it's very likely that this is where the Sermon on the Mount took place. Down lower on the side of it. We'll see the edge of it here in a little bit. Overlooking the Sea of Galilee.
Yeah, we could have taken a few of those pictures out, huh?
Windy and cold and wet. But it's quite an experience. So
Yeah, he kind of laughed at me for bringing a raincoat for him, but he ended up using it. So,
yeah. And see, this is the edge of it. Probably down here is where the Sermon on the Mount would have taken place. But yeah.
and beautiful flowers again. I really enjoyed the flowers.
Another synagogue.
This is the synagogue in
that
Magdala,
Jesus would have taught on.
Mary
This
Magdalene's hometown.
yeah, and this is where they lay the scroll down and teach from that area. They incorporated this. They tore down the synagogue when raiders were coming in and built it into other things so that they wouldn't lose the
I did
stones.
enjoy this chapel at Mary Magdalene. I don't know, and it's a chapel that had really neat little, each one of these is a little cove sort of thing that you can go in and just think about whatever the picture was about.
Well, it celebrates the women.
Yeah, it celebrates
the
women.
time
Well,
of
some of
Christ
it,
that
yeah.
Christ would have interacted with.
And then that was like Peter's boat or something. I don't know. I didn't really get what that one was exactly. We went through it too fast.
And keep going, keep going. This is the pillar that doesn't have a name on it. They had 9 other pillars, I think, 7 or 9 other pillars with women of the Bible that Jesus would have interacted with. And this one doesn't have a name on it, and it's one that you stand by, and God, signifying that God wants to use you, or how would you say that?
Yeah.
Your
something
name
like
can
that,
go
yeah.
on that pillar.
And this was stones in a street that were from when Jesus would have walked there. So he could have walked on this street, on this.
See, there are feet.
And then right off of that one, you had this big picture. It's hard to see it, but the lady touching Jesus to be healed that had the issue of blood. And it was a really incredible little chapel area. And when we came out, there was a rainbow. So that was pretty. It's hard. It's distorted on there, but it was really pretty.
Banana plantations all
I
over.
couldn't figure out, because they had them covered and they were short. I thought they were all date trees. And then I came to find out, no, those are banana trees. Bananas grow on those plants that are covered with the
Net.
tents, the net.
All right. The sunset.
And
Sea of
yes, and we
Galilee.
had baptisms that night. There was 4 people
Yeah.
that got baptized
Group.
in our group that night. And then there was Tiberias across the way.
Isn't that like a picture perfect? I don't know how
was
it turned
beautiful.
out that way.
And Steve did some drawing while we were gone.
Good therapy. All right. Keep going here. You're getting closer, getting closer.
I think so. We can go through this one maybe a little faster. This grinds grain. Is a grain grinder, flour grinder
Flour mill.
thing. Another millstone.
That's the millstone hung around the neck. If you get into that, if you remember
This
that.
is another Roman city. It's close to Nazareth. It's Sepphoris or something like that. But you just, you wonder if Jesus was there, if his parents ever went there, or, it was just, again, incredible. The Roman city with the theaters, with the tile, with the streets.
Just to walk in the area where Jesus would have been. This is the Mona Lisa of Galilee, is what they call that mosaic. It's really beautiful, amazing.
Yeah, just incredible artwork in the tiles. It was just amazing.
I have some point to make.
our friend Chinita.
There you go.
I suppose that's one of my favorite parts was all the tile work and just all the artwork in that. It was just, I was just amazed. It really was.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. You guys are fading fast too, so we're almost done to the, we,
Yeah, we can kind of skip
any
through some of
comments?
this.
You gotta interact a little bit so we don't all fall asleep and fade
Any
off.
questions?
Questions? I don't know, they certainly are. They're providing produce like none other. The orchards were just everywhere. Along the Jordan Valley, and even plant date palms around the Dead Sea of all places. You know, they pump water, well water, I guess, the springs to supply water to them.
And we were kind of surprised some of the places we drove by, there was a lot of fruit on the ground. It's like they didn't harvest it.
And I don't know
And
if COVID
we don't
was
know
the
what
reason
the
for
deal
that
was
or
with
what.
that. We were kind of
But
surprised.
I don't know how they harvest all the fruit that's there. I can't imagine. Keep going, keep rolling on that if we can.
Yeah, I have several of the mosaics because I just find them fascinating, obviously. And some of them were like sidewalks they walked on. I'm like, that just kind of blew me away. They walked
Are-
on these.
Are we
They're the
overwhelming our
sidewalks.
computer right now? Yeah, I gotta catch up a little bit. Okay. There's a
Oh, yeah. This one you can see the chariot.
or a wagon wheel ruts in the stone on this street in this Roman city.
Yeah, Sepphoris. That was a sidewalk. But they said a lot of these sidewalks were also covered. Like the street would not have been covered, but then the sidewalk on this side probably would have been like covered.
Go ahead and ask questions if you feel like you want to know something that we're not covering here. There's no way that we can tell you all the information about these sites. There's just absolutely no way. And I could never remember it. And thankfully, Lesa.
Okay,
wrote
now we're at Gideon Spring, Herod Spring.
Herod Spring, Gideon Spring, where God narrowed down Gideon's army from 3,000 to 300.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the way it went? And this was the spring that they either lapped out of or they cupped their hands and drank out of that way and narrowed it down. It's obviously made into a park, which is really nice, but not exactly what the original looked like by any means. So.
No, but it was very pretty. We
And
ate our
worked
lunch
for a nice
here.
lunch, yeah.
Now we're at
This
another Roman city.
is really Roman in architecture. This city of, I don't know who built it. Was this another one of Herod's
I think so.
schemes? Incredible amphitheater, incredible, just huge, amazing architecture there. And this is where we get into some interesting plumbing,
Mm-hmm.
if we get through to it here.
Yes, when he told us that they had the
This-
public latrine, Steve had to go find the public latrine.
The water would run down. It's really kind of cool, but it's I don't know if they had partitions or not, but anyway, the water would run down here, and there'd also be another water trough here, which had a sponge, which was reused, for
Cleaning
purposes.
yourself. Oh my goodness. I couldn't imagine.
So keep going. Park on that. I did move some stones around a little bit to just be a part of this archaeological process. I didn't push any of those over.
That was another walkway.
It was amazing, some of the cities that were there, and yeah.
My husband helped me out once in a while carrying my backpack, if you noticed.
All right, got through that day quicker, and we're moving right along. Day 12 is
Shopping. And
our
Via
free day.
Dolorosa.
So we went down the Via Dolorosa, and we can probably run through. The tea is amazing, and it was coffee. No, it wasn't.
It was
coffee.
tea.
It was tea. But the shops are amazing. We just enjoyed the time going through these on the Via Dolorosa, and we'll cover that Friday. So we'll speed through this right now in different stages of the Christ's trial and crucifixion and burial. That's the gate that he would have gone through.
This is the gate, right? The eastern gate.
The
Going
eastern
to the
gate, yeah.
Lion's Gate.
Triumphal entry. Look at all the grave sites. Isn't that great? These are some of the really, really old ones down here. But yeah, just thousands upon thousands of grave sites. Birthplace of the Virgin Mary? I don't think so, but they made a place for it.
Just another chapel we went into along the Via Dolorosa.
Yeah, where the trial took place, whatever, yeah. And we'll get into that probably more. We'll be set to live music on Friday just to encourage you to come then. This is on the way to the
No, we were following some
Golgotha.
people. We didn't really know where we were going. This is actually into the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a different part of it.
We didn't know where we were at.
No, we didn't.
And lo and behold, it comes out at the Holy Sepulchre.
Yeah.
The Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Okay, last day, we were able to get on the Temple Mount.
I did not want to go, but
She was
Steve
kind of
did.
worried about the whole situation because the Muslims they are in charge of this area. Actually, the Talmud said Jews are not allowed to go on the Temple Mount because of their regulations.
And you can't have any, like you can't wear Christian jewelry, you can't take your Bible, you can't, they monitor. We saw a lady putting a Bible in a
Yeah,
in
she
a
had to-
box
had to
thing.
take it back.
Through the security. So
This is some of the second temple period artwork from the temple. Yeah, this is another mosque that's up there.
I didn't expect to see trees and garden on top of there, but there was.
And the Dome of the Rock in the very middle of this Temple Mount. We'll get up into that area. This is Solomon's corrals or something like that,
Yeah,
stables or
something,
something like
yeah,
that.
that's what they
I don't know if
said.
that's true. That's those looking out over Mount of Olives through the wall that I tried climbing. This is where I got in trouble climbing up.
think
was
the
just
next
about
picture
up
shows
there.
it.
I was just about up there. It's great steps. And then some guard starts yelling at me. I don't know why, but
Right there. There's where you
yeah.
are.
You took a picture
I
of it.
did take a picture of it.
That's probably the last time you'd see me. Oh, boy.
Notice I am far away. I don't want to go where I'm not supposed to go.
But that was the eastern gate, the back side of the eastern gate, and I wanted to get up there to knock some stones loose. Let Jesus come through. Anyway, he'll do it. He doesn't need my help. So, anyway, yeah, the Dome of the Rock, and it was just an interesting walk.
It was, actually.
This is the gate leading out of there. That's how you.
And
had to
that's
go
how you
in.
go up there through that tunnel thing.
The Wailing Wall. It's the Jews have access to that, but they don't have access to the Temple Mount. That's part of the settlement of all the people living there. Muslims.
And we had these from
Christians
the
and
first day. I
Jews.
don't know why we redid that again.
Yeah,
Oh, we did some different things on there, I
Yeah.
guess.
that's,
This is where Steve was doing his little video thing.
the cleansing baths, and, yeah, housing that was built in there. I don't know what that all was from.
Well,
but
we went down under the wall, which we didn't do the other time we were there. So another mosaic down under
Yeah.
the wall kind of place.
So any questions, any thoughts, or just are you bored stiff, or are you, is this, I don't, yeah, yeah, yeah. It will come to life when you get to the stories of these places, a whole lot more too. And I'll try to use this when I can. Like today, I was able to use a lot of the pictures and location of where Jesus was at. So,
Yeah, I know.
oh, they're huge. We didn't get, these right here. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was trying to put the stones back in place, but but that's where Jesus predicted, there won't be a stone left on top of each other. General Titus, was it General Titus? Came in 70 AD. I learned that one from history. But they toppled all the stones off the Temple Mount and just totally flattened the place. And of course, they used some of the stones back when they rebuilt, but those there they just kind of left. But they're huge. They are huge stones. Not pyramid equivalent, but huge. Very big. This is our hotel.
This is our hotel. We were in the annex part, and this is the entrance to the hotel. That was our last meal. A weird picture.
Last supper.
Yes.
That was our last supper. This is where, right around the corner, right there.
Hershio.
How do you pronounce his
Horatio.
name? Spafford, who wrote "It Is Well with My Soul." That's where his tomb had to be moved. His remains had to be moved, and they were all put in this area. This whole list of guys. I don't know what the reason was they had to move him, but interesting.
Yeah.
That he's buried there in the college, in that college campus. So, yeah. Wow. We've fed you a lot of stuff. I know it's kind of overload, but it was truly a blessing, a kind of a dream for me. It is a dream come true to be able to go and enjoy and take in these sites. We appreciate the support you all had and just allow us to have the time off to do it, number one, and then the support you gave to help us get there as well. We didn't expect that, but we certainly appreciate it. It got to be kind of crazy when, not knowing what we're going to do with the flights and different things, but God made a way, and we were able to get there in time and enjoy that whole time away. So thank you for that. Any other comments, questions?
We had a huge field manual. This is our field manual.
And about 8 maps to fill in.
Well, beforehand, we, did the
Yeah.
maps.
So,
And when we were finished, we get an official certificate of completion. Want you to know I completed.
I got one too. I do, somewhere. But no,
Well,
it's,
one of the things he said that I think is interesting, and I think it'll come out as Steve talks about things, is Jesus a lot of times went back to places something had happened before, and he righted a wrong, or he fulfilled a prophecy, or which was quite interesting.
Jericho is a place of transition where the Israelites are transitioned to the promised land. It's where Jesus began his ministry. It's where Jesus entered his final week. Those kind of things, look for those kind of things in Scripture. When there's a location mentioned in Scripture, dig into it. say, why is he using this? Why did he say Jesus crossed the Kidron Valley? What's the big deal there? Ask those questions when you're studying Scripture, when you're reading those stories, and look for other events that took place at the same city or whatever, and then you'll find that there's some really interesting dovetail stories that take place, like on Mount Moriah, which Nasser made comment about that 3 weeks ago, I think it was, about Abraham offering Isaac up on which is the Temple Mount, that area, okay, and that's where Jesus rode in, and that's where Jesus offered himself as that sacrificial lamb for us. So there's just so many of those things in Scripture that I would encourage you to, when you study, look at those names, look at those places, look at the geography, and think about, this is not just a flat Kansas land. This is a really rugged area, but it's an area that all the commerce had to go through to get to the coast, or to get to Egypt, or to get north. Everything went through Israel. No wonder everybody fought for Israel, and they wanted that territory, and yet it was interesting. So
Another interesting side note, if you want to get a taste of what we listen to, our instructor is on
Daily
YouTube. But yeah, through our Daily Bread, the little devotional we have, they do some video clips with him, and if you Google his name, you can watch some sessions.
that we had, yeah, pretty much.
They're short,
Yeah.
but yeah. John A. Beck.
Beck.
He went by Jack on our thing, but his published name is John A. Beck. And he has lots of books. Who knew?
Yeah. So we were schooled well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we have some stuff out there. I do want you to take a
Oh.
seashell if you want to from Mediterranean.
Yes, and I have, well, when we went to the store owner, he invites us in and he gives us all this Slovakia, I think that's the way you say
Yeah,
it, or I might have mixed up
Slovakia.
letters
That's
or
right.
something. Anyways, it was very good there. I don't know, we've had it a couple weeks, but I went to the same bakery he went to get mine. And so I have that out there, and then when we were in Jericho, we had some dates that were covered in chocolate, and they have almonds in the middle. And so I got some of those. They're out there. And then I tried to make these little cookie-type things, because in Israel, there's poppy seeds in, like, everything, it seems like. So I Googled the Israeli recipe, and so I tried to make something, so that's out there, too.
Yeah.
And
Any
there's
other-
water or coffee.
Yeah, any other questions, comments? You're welcome. Yeah, sorry we had to kind of just dump it, but wanted to make it as interesting as possible. And we will, and I'll try not to bore you in my sermons. I'll just use the slides that work for these stories. So, but anyway, no, it was
We
tremendous.
saw a
experience.
lot, and it's hard to narrow it down to short.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for your gracious patience as we went through this tonight. Yeah. Thank you again for allowing us to go and helping us get there. We really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, that.
You're dismissed.
You're dismissed, and grab some stuff on the way out. And there's a lamp there from the time of Christ that there's two of them out there. Don't drop them, don't throw them or anything, but yes, you can handle a 2,000-year-old artifact from Jerusalem. What? Yeah, I did.